Hi everyone, this is Heather. Welcome to another episode of the Dot Connector Show. Today I'm in Abeokuta, Ogun State in Nigeria, and I'm here with my really good friend, Mr. Debo Omululu from GFA Africa, and he's going to share a little bit more about the vision of the Ogun Tech Hub and also GFA Africa. So, Mr. Debo, can you introduce yourself and what you do?
Hey Heather, how you doing? As you rightly said, thank you for being in Abeokuta in Ogun State, Nigeria, where the tech campus for GFA Technologies is situated. So the tech campus is really a collaboration between the public sector, Ogun State government, and GFA Technologies. We're a software company. We had a youthful population in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole, but not enough opportunities for people to get jobs, to grow, to expand, to be the best versions of themselves. And I had, gotten certain things that I had dreamt about, and I had achieved them. And I've gotten to learn that, look, you have to partner with government because especially in this side of the world, there's so many issues, there's so many structures. It's sometimes difficult to work within those structures. So as an individual, it now became, how could I contribute my quota? So Shanghai was a very nice part of the world because of the infrastructure, how easy it was to commute, the quality of life, and for me, very important, probably even the most important, the diversity. Shanghai is a location that has over 1 million expatriates from different countries, in the city. I saw a problem and I felt it wasn't being addressed well enough, right? Especially because Africa has the youngest population in the world. The average age of the African, an average age, is about 19 years old. And 65% of the population is younger than the age of 25. And if you have many young people and they don't have opportunities for growth and development and things like that, then it's kind of like a solution for, it's a panacea for anarchy, as they say. So I really was very concerned about that, and that's why I came back, to be able to do something about it. And so what did I do? I started off by looking and saying, who are the key influencers? And for me, it was startups at the time. 2020, 2021. And then together with my team, we built a solution that matched startups to investors. The startups that signed up to that program over the last 3 years have gone on to raise collectively about $400 million. So from a startup impact point of view, and infusing money into the startups, that first step was relatively successful. At a point in time, GFA was responsible for almost like 4% of the investment into startups in Africa as a whole. But one thing that I then realized, especially leveraging, analyzing everything, was startups have an impact, but not a big enough impact as they would have, say, in North America and even in Asia. And so looking around and studying other markets, it became clear, and even within Africa as well, it became clearer and clearer that while startups are important for a key impact on society, you have to look at the broader SME market as well, which then led us to, begin working on a software solution that could empower SMEs to monetize and all. I'm saying all of this because it happened on the digital side, but here in Africa, you can't do things on the digital in isolation. You also have to consider the physical. So if you think about it, so many of the people that may get skilled they may get skills, but they may not have internet access in order to service people. Or they may not have, electricity or power because there are power shortages in order to service the global clientele. And so the whole point of the tech campus is to enable young people, especially, to live, work, and play from the tech campus in such a way that they can work remotely right here in Abeokuta in Nigeria and provide services or work remotely for a company in Switzerland or in Sweden or in the US, as the case may be. So that's the concept behind the Tech Hub. And so we're marrying the digital with the physical to create more and more opportunities. And if you think about it, so the Nigerian Minister of Communications announced that Nigeria wants to be a key player, and provide a lot of remote talent to people the same way that India has. And the Vice President as well has come out to roll out an initiative called the Outsource to Nigeria Initiative. So these, key things show the general direction that Nigeria and Africa are going. And when you then add things like UN data and World Bank data that says that by 2050, 40% of the global working population will be from Africa. So what we really want to do is to upskill people at scale, create tech hubs and campuses using this one in Abeokuta as a kind of like model, and then it can now be duplicated in other cities and states in Nigeria as well as other countries in Africa, especially because it's all connected. And so this is what and why. So to the two questions that you asked, what started things and what, have we done, especially with Ogun State government, this is how it all evolved and why we're excited to have Ogun State government as a partner, to have what we now but what it is, the largest tech campus in Africa, sitting on 144,000 square meters of space and land. It's still developing. We haven't hit our 10,000 user mark, but we're gradually hitting the various milestones that we've set. So the key milestone or KPI for us is workstations from the office side of things. And so we are developing, we want to hit 1,000 users in the hub by the end of this year. We're currently in the 350 stage. And then we want to hit 1,000 by the end of this year, 5,000 by next year, and 10,000 by the upper year. This is for the physical infrastructure. And so, again, the workstations, for every set of workstations that we build, we're also trying to make sure that we have accommodation to manage that same number and things like that. So again, a lot of work going on the digital and physical, and this is the reason why this started, and this is how we are implementing and executing with the Ogun State government.
Okay, yeah, thanks for sharing vision that you have. I think it's important to have the digital and physical, especially in Africa, because we've always talked about tech innovation, but I think for talents to develop, for innovation to develop, there needs to be a base, and that's kind of what China did. Like earlier, we were also talking about JAPA. A lot of young talents are moving abroad. The brain drain, that people are trained with skills, with passion, but they don't have enough opportunities here. But
sorry, I even just wanted to kind of like jump in there that China was also. It's interesting that you mentioned China. So one of the things I learned in China was how China had hubs for things. So China today is considered as the manufacturer to the world, right? Because there are a lot of stuff that are produced in China, especially your everyday things, wear and stuff like that are produced in China. They've been able to develop, procedures for manufacturing, and also lots of people refer to China as the manufacturer to the world. One thing I learned from China is really just more of how Africa, especially, and Nigeria specifically, can become the service provider to the world, right? So literally becoming the de facto service provider to the world, especially because of the youthful population and demographics, educational levels and standards and things like that. Typically in the US, they say that the Nigerians are the most educated minority in the US, for example. Some even say most accomplished.
Yeah, I heard 70% of the doctors are Nigerian.
There you go.
Something
You know,
like that.
it's something like that.
Yeah.
And so, if you think about it, Nigeria can be the service provider to the world. And COVID has even changed things such that the Nigerians don't even need to live in the US or in the UK, or other countries as the case may be. They can live here, acquire the skills, and then have the platform to deploy those skills remotely and earn, you know, say in foreign currency here in Nigeria as well. So that way they have that quality of life. They are supporting the organizations by helping them to lower cost as well. And it then becomes a kind of like a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and then they can also invest more locally.
Correct.
In their families and communities.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that multiplier effect that then takes place within their communities because they have to eat, they have to clothe themselves, they have to, you know, spend money on different things. So they're earning from abroad, and then they're able to spend money and also increase the wealth, especially the GDP per capita for each person in the Nigerian context and the African context generally.
Yeah, that makes really a lot of sense. That's what you also mentioned earlier about the SMEs. And yeah, that's also what I was going to say that China did when they were trying to bring the talents from abroad. They offered really good amenities like free office spaces, free apartments, free education for people's children. Because once you take off those stress from people's lives, and you can really allow them to utilize all the talents and skills they've acquired.
Yeah. It's part of what we're offering here. So free office spaces, free accommodation to an extent. So just as we are able to build and develop. Again, yes, it's a partnership with the government, but you know, we are still the ones who have to get the investors to get all of those things and all that. The government has supported from an infrastructure point of view, but GFA is still the one that is, you know, driving the execution, getting the investors in, making sure that we get the right people in, and then, as you rightly said, offering free workstations, free accommodation, as the case may be. And our plan is, you know, as I said, to use this as an example and a test case, and even begin to invite other African nationals to actually come in and reside here in the tech campus.
Yeah, I think that sounds really great, and especially enabling like private sector and public sector to work together. And I hope all the best for you in accomplishing your goals. Yeah, so kind of to wrap things up, I'm wondering if you have to offer one advice to young people that's trying to leave their mark in the world, what would you say to them?
Advice to young people trying to leave their mark in. I'm also young. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're always a kid at heart, especially tech people. We never grow old. But
I get that. That's why you know, we're always in t-shirts and jeans.
Yeah.
Even though I'm almost 50 and all that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you can barely tell. And after going to your mom's birthday party, I realized the jeans ran in the family because she looks really good to be at 70.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess advice to young people will probably be more of be willing to learn and to give yourself time Many people seem to be too desperate for things, right? And I don't blame them. I mean, I was at a point in time. And so when I say I was, I mean like trying to achieve so much within
Yeah,
a
being very hungry.
being hungry and all that. And so it's key to keep that hunger inside, but at the same time, not to beat yourself up too much, right? Especially in the beginning. It takes time. So if you are an entrepreneur, it takes time to build a business. You don't just start a business and then, it becomes a rocket ship and it takes off immediately. It takes time. So give yourself some time and don't beat yourself up. If you're an employee, it takes time to also learn the skills that you would need. Sometimes on your job, the skills that you learn may not even be directly related to your job. It might even just be people skills that you learn, right? Based on the kinds of people that you're meeting. So take the time to learn. The most successful investor in the world is Warren Buffett. And the two key elements that Warren Buffett has used to his advantage are compounding and time, right? Whoever is successful today that you want to use as a benchmark, whether it's the African, from an African perspective, maybe an Aliko Dangote, or from a US perspective, a Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs or something, their success has been by a factor of time. So it's important for young people to understand probably the two things I said: time, one, and compounding, two. When I say time and compounding, time is length of time, and then compounding is how to double or triple whatever it is that you're doing based on a period of time, right? So learn those two things, compounding and time. Very important. So just to bring it down to an achievable level, there's this thing called the principle of 72 that really says how long it's going to take for something to double. So if you invest in something, right, how long is it going to take to double? So if you invest $100 in the stock market, whether the Nigerian stock market or the Johannesburg stock market or any of the international ones as well, how long is it going to take to double, right? And so if you leave it over a period of time and then you're adding to those numbers on a monthly basis, that amount is going to double very, very likely using the factor of 72 over a 7-year period, right? Because it's going to be time divided by 72. Okay, that's another discussion for another day. But anyways,
economy, yeah.
Just simplifying, it's going to double. And so every single month, whatever it is going to double. And then imagine you've left that for like a 30-year period or a 40-year period. What it means is that over a 40-year period, you'll be talking of a huge factor over that period. So time, compounding, these are two very, very important things in order to develop yourself. So this is my advice for young people.
Okay, thanks for sharing. I will take notes. And also the very, very last question. So since you're trying to attract investors and businesses to partner with to invest in Ogun Tech Hub, Abeokuta, what would you say to potential investors or partners? Why should they partner with you to invest in this future in a time where investments are slowing down and but the opportunity is still there? So
investors have that opportunity to have that stability that comes with an organization that has a direct impact on what is happening from a skilling perspective, as well as the opportunities that happen in the market. So that's very, very important. We keep, we ensure that our business is run to international standards with a lot of data, transparency, and insight, right? And there's a lot that we can achieve.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you for your time. I'm sure there's so much more we will see in the next in the next coming years, and I can't wait to revisit the hub and see it grow along the way. Quite an inspiring journey. And at the Dot Connector show, I'm hoping to share more stories like Debo, who had experience around the world, especially between Asia and Africa, to follow their journey and learn about their vision and invite more people to partner to create a bigger impact. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time.